Hello, and happy Monday, everybody. Hey, welcome, welcome. I feel like it's been so long since we have been together. Thank you for tuning in today. I am so excited. I have a special guest who will be joining me today. So, if you had an opportunity to check out the description, you already know for the entire month of August, we are doing a giveaway. All right. So, I have a special guest today. She is no stranger to Facebook and social media. But before I bring her on, I just wanted to share really quickly. Every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm doing a giveaway. It's for all tenants. It doesn't matter if it's a market tenant, a tenant who lives in Section 8 or public housing. This is for them. All right. Um, we are going to have a conversation about housekeeping, cleanliness, why it's important. Okay. And so here's the thing for the giveaway. Uh, Let me just make sure I am. All right. I see my comments are coming in. I will acknowledge those of you who are tuned in, those of you um, who showed me some love in the comment box. I'll acknowledge you shortly. So the giveaway, really simple. It's for tenants anywhere. Doesn't cost anything to enter the giveaway. The only requirement is that tenants email pictures before and after cleaning. That's it. So the email address is in the description below. So whether you're a tenant, whether you have a tenant, or you know someone who is, the entire month of August is strictly for tenants. All right, so let me acknowledge some people who are here. Hello, Renee. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good evening. Good evening. Hello, Kenya. I love it. I love it. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Ms. Osborne. Thank you so much. Um, so let me bring on my special guest because wouldn't you believe? Well, for me, I guess it was a little surprising because I've made this announcement that we're doing this giveaway, right? And it's for tenants. And so I don't have a selection of people to choose from for today. So in any event, um, doesn't cost you anything, doesn't cost tenants anything. And so here's the thing. I recognize that maybe sometimes people are nervous, maybe people are, afraid or whatever. So when I receive the pictures by way of email, we are not going to acknowledge anybody by their name. And so in the description, it's given some information like when we receive the pictures, again, they have to be pictures of before and after cleaning. We will assign a number. And so we will choose the winner by um, identify them by the number. So we're not going to call people out by name. You don't have to be ashamed or embarrassed. But the month of August is all about tenants understanding the importance of cleaning up. So without further ado, let me bring on my special guest. I want you to meet her and I want you to listen to this young lady. I met her some years ago. And we both share a great excuse me, for helping others. So let me bring on my special guest today. So a lot of you may have seen or experienced um, hearing this young lady, seeing her. She is an author. She is a professional. She is a mother. She is absolutely amazing. So let me bring on my special guest. Hello, Shernita.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Listen, I am so excited that you are joining us today. I know that our viewers are in for a special treat. Sharnita,
Yeah.
before we get into it, let me just have you to do an introduction. Tell the
Okay.
people who you are, give us some information in no particular order.
Okay. Well, my name is Shanita Jefferson. Um, I am a nation Washingtonian. I've been born and raised in Southeast Washington, D.C. for 47 years. My birthday is next Sunday, so I'm excited about that. Um, I've been working with the Housing Authority for 22 years now. I'm no stranger to the community. I also did a lot of community service. I'm community service driven. Not only did I work for the Housing Authority for 22 years, but I was a participant for most of that time. I want to say around 23 years. So I had a voucher. I lived in public housing just about all of my youth. And so now I'm a homeowner. I was able to take the opportunity to become a homeowner through the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Now I am a mobility specialist at the DC Housing Authority, and I also teach housekeeping, which is called HELP, Housing Enjoyable Living Program. I'm excited about today because I have some information that you guys can use, some helpful tips on how to keep your unit or your house clean, and also have any, I'm here to answer any questions you might have in reference to housekeeping.
Awesome, awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited. I see the comments are coming in. And I want to say thank you to those of you who are watching by way of YouTube as well as LinkedIn. Facebook has given us a little challenge today, but
Mhm.
no worries. The comments are coming in and people can relate. And so, Shanita, as we think about housekeeping, let's discuss um, the importance of it. Because sometimes I like to give like the backdrop of what housekeeping is. Sometimes people don't understand that it's so much more than just cleaning up, right? Um,
Yes.
and let's talk about the backdrop of housekeeping. Like, what are some reasons in your career, in your profession? What are some reasons that you find that people are having an issue around cleanliness and housekeeping? Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay, well, um, what I can say is that, one of the reasons why it's important is because we got to also keep in mind that we are renters. And when you're a renter, you're there only temporarily, and the landlord is their investment, but it's also our livelihood. So one of the things that you want to do is to make sure that the housekeeping is not perfect, but suitable for you to live in. You want to make sure that you take really good care of housekeeping because it can affect your health. So you have a couple of things that you can put into perspective: your health, your livelihood, and the safe and cleanliness of your environment when it comes to you and your kids and even pets. So it's very important because it allows you to be able to not just be a renter to one unit, but you can go to multiple units and that's one of the reasons you could be a good tenant. So that's why it's very important that you keep your unit clean because you don't want to be in an infested unit, and that goes from rodents. It's important to keep a clean unit because even with rodents, it comes with uncleanliness. And so that's why it's very important. And that's when we're renting a unit, the landlords, that's one of the important things that they want to know in reference to selecting a good tenant. If this tenant is going to keep my unit clean. If you're living in a government assistance program like rapid rehousing or the Housing Choice Voucher Program, you all know that we have to do an inspection on your unit. So the importance of keeping your unit clean will allow you to still receive assistance through the government because that's one of the criteria that we look for when we go to do inspection on your unit. We want to make sure that your unit is suitable to live in because we don't want anybody in an unsafe, unsanitary unit. So that's why it's important that every year you do an inspection and that you pass your inspection. We do know that some issues can be caused due to the landlord not coming to fix um, like wear and tear objects. But as a tenant, it is very important that you keep your unit clean.
All right, so you have touched on a lot, and I think it's important to capture the essence of what you shared, and you did share a lot. But more importantly, I was able to hear like your passion behind it, right? And so we know in the industry the importance of landlords coming out to make sure repairs are done. So I've been in the industry for almost 3 decades, working in various roles and capacities in real estate, property management, affordable housing programs, and so many other areas, a housing inspector, and the list goes on and on and on. But Shanita, sometimes I'm really surprised when I go into a resident's home by what I see. And I've just developed over the years the understanding that sometimes tenants would do things for two reasons. Either they'll do it because they don't know or because they don't care. And so, as a housing provider, one of the things that I always strive to do, even just talking with my team, um, and my employees, is making sure that we communicate to tenants and we explain to them um, what housekeeping is and the importance of it, because sometimes you may have a tenant who maybe they've never lived on their own. Maybe nobody taught them how to clean up or why it's important to clean up. And so we communicate those things to tenants. Sometimes they just sign a lease. They're excited to move into their place, right? They get their keys and they're on their way, right? Not really looking at the lease, not really understanding the terms of that rental lease agreement. And so education is so important.
Yeah.
Um, and I just believe that an educated rental community works better when we work together. And so it's always, I know, it's always in the landlord's best interest to educate tenants, to communicate. Like if they see a problem, say something, but to always treat it like a business. And I think that there is sometimes, Shanita, a disconnect, because I've found that owners, some clients that I've had over the years, um, they would try to dictate or tell the tenant how to live, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a difference. There's a difference between having a conversation and dictating how a person should and should not live. As long as it is in writing, it must be in the lease, right?
Hmm.
Because if it's not in the lease, it doesn't exist. And anything that does not exist, the landlord cannot enforce. And so I wanted to really just dive into that a little bit. So let's look at some of the comments and the questions that have come in.
Okay.
Okay, so Kenya, she's asking, what do you consider wear and tear? I'm gonna let you answer that.
So I consider wear and tear if the carpet um is coming from the walls, like your carpet is bunched up. Say if you've been in your unit for like 5 or more years and the carpet has been bunched up, and a lot of times we know that's tripping hazards. And so we contact the landlord to see if they can repair the carpet or to give us new carpet. So things like that is called wear and tear. The paint, if you move into a new unit and they haven't put fresh paint on the walls, and you get there and you're there for like another 5 years, and inspector come and they see that the either walls is dirty or it's chipping of the paint, that's what I consider as wear and tear. I hope that answered your question.
All right, so I think that answered the question. Let's go to our next question. We have Miss Aubon. She says, "Yeah, but if also if it's not your fault and people have broken in before, she have plenty of pictures before and after, and we know that sometimes that's true. But Shanita, can you speak to that?"
In some cases, well, being working for the housing authority, and I used to teach. I used to do the briefings for when they get the vouchers. And one of the things I will always tell the audience is that you got to be your own your own inspector when you go into the units for the first time. And because I was a participant for so long, when I moved, I always wanted to inspect myself to see if that was the right unit for me and my family. So what I would do is I would look under the sink to see if I see any droppings or I see any leaks. I would look into the closets to see if any holes for like rodents or mice coming in. And so I always would say be your own inspector when you go to look at units, and then you can identify if things is not where they're supposed to be. We also know that when we first move into a unit, the landlord will always give us a moving checklist. And you need to go around the unit and to put the things that you see that's not suitable for you, to let the landlord know that these are the things that needs to be fixed. I hope that answered your question, Miss Osborne.
All right, that was good. I like that. I like that. And that's a good point, Shanita, because sometimes tenants, I believe, sometimes tenants are not aware of, for instance, their environment. Sometimes they are not aware of the community that they live in, because sometimes, and although they're not really outside, they're inside, but I believe that sometimes their environment does influence the things that it's happening inside of the apartment. So, but
Yeah.
let's go to some more comments, and then we're going to further this conversation here. All right. So
Okay.
Kenny has a question here. Some tenants might not understand their roles, um, as far as keeping their unit up to par, not including just cleaning up. I'm gonna let you address that as well.
Okay, so I just want to be transparent with you all. I had the opportunity of going to teach housekeeping and parenting classes over at the DC shelter. I was a product of the shelter. When I received my voucher, I had already had a child at the time, and I was in the shelter, and they didn't have anything like the help program or anyone coming over to the shelter to explain to us the importance of when we get our vouchers or when we move to a unit, how to keep the unit clean. Um, when I was at the shelter, I noticed that a lot of young girls that was in their teens, like 18, going on 19, this was their first time getting their apartments, and they didn't know about housekeeping. They didn't. If their mother didn't make them clean up, or they didn't have a stern household for them to have chores, they didn't know what to do when they get into that new unit. So the help program, which I facilitate, was able to educate them on where to go to get cleaning products, um, how to maintain your unit, how to buy inexpensive cleaning products. And anybody that know me or ever been to my help class, they already know that Dollar Tree is my favorite store. They call me the Dollar Tree Diva. I love the Dollar Tree. I'm in there three, 4 times a week. But I say that is to say is that we all knew that's just like you being a parent. We don't have a manual on teaching us how to be a parent. But with programs that the district can be able to fund, and it's one is housekeeping, educating the importance of it, I think it's much needed. But I do understand, mental health is one of the key points of a person, needs to keep their unit clean. If they lived on the street for quite, some time, and they've been homeless like I was, it's, I didn't know. I knew that my mother made me clean up, but when I got my own, I think I had to learn how to maintain and to keep my unit clean. One, because I had a voucher, and two, I knew I was gonna get an inspection, and if it wasn't right, that was the it was for me to, let's say, get terminated, and that's one of the things I did not want to do, was to lose my voucher due to me not keeping my house clean. So I just hope that that was a little bit to answer your question, and if so, I can go deep into it.
All right, so that was I like that, because in that I heard the transparency, and here's the thing that I love about you, Shanita. Like, you're real, and people can receive, people can connect to others who are real. So you talked about how at one point you went through a struggle, right? Like you were once
Yeah.
home. And here's the thing about life. Sometimes people might go through storms, and if you look at them, you'll never know what their situation is. And so
Right.
usually when we go through things in life, that's how we develop a passion for helping others. So just as yourself, I was once homeless many years ago, right? Nobody knew that I was homeless, but I was, and it was something that um, homelessness doesn't have a look. It doesn't have a face.
Right.
I worked, right? I was still going to church, serving as a leader. As a matter of fact, I still went to church, I still served, and nobody knew my situation or condition. And so the fact that the Lord allowed people like you and I to go through the struggle and the storm, I believe that He did that because He knew that He could trust us, because so many, they get
Right.
stuck. So many people stop. So many people throw in the towel. And so I'm just honored that you went through that and that you're still here to talk about it and that
Amen.
have the passion that you have. All right, so let's go to some of the comments, and we're gonna go to our next point. So Miss
Okay.
Osborne, she says, and she had through. I'm not really sure about your comment or what that mean, Miss Osborne. And I had through houses from housing. Okay, and so let's go to the next comment because you live in the apartment. Okay. Kenya says she agrees. Renee Harris has a question. Um, and here's Miss Harris' question. She says, Doc, do you believe that you are a product of how your home should look? That is a great question. And so, yes, um, that's twofold. So I'm gonna come from both sides of the aisle. So, yes, I do believe that you are a product of how your home should look. Now, on the flip side, I disagree with that because sometimes people can have a look, right? You can look the par, you can be well put together. When you leave out in the morning, you could be dressed from head to toe, right? But then, and this is a great segue to our second point, as we're talking about like mental health and how it impacts people.
Hmm.
Sometimes people can go through, they could be depressed, they can have some sort of mental illness. And from the outside, they may look like they have it all together. So that's why I said I'm 50-50. So on one hand, yes, I do agree. But if there are any underlying type of conditions or situations going on, then maybe not. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that for a minute, Shanita.
Okay. Well, it could be a case on case. Like, you know, when I went through a mental breakdown, um, I was just didn't feel like doing anything. And I think I'm the Black Martha Stewart. I love decorating. I live for HGTV. I love um going to Home Depot, looking at the new fixtures and things like that. But when I was going through my depression, none of that mattered. And so I think that when I put my clothes on, I look really nice, and I love the look good and smell good. But when the depression sits in, you don't know what state of mind you would be in. So a lot of it comes from you not even wanting to even clean, not even just clean your physical self. Let alone cleaning up your bed, making up your bed every day. It depends on what state of mind you in, and people go through different depressions. And I just think that, once you snap out of it, then you get back on your feet and say, okay, well, let me clean up today. And some people have mental health where they have OCD, where they just have to clean. They just have to do it. They just have to keep sweeping every 5 minutes. They got a mop every time somebody put the feet on the floor. And I had to learn that through therapy. that it's different kinds of mental health, but it's also different kinds of mental states too, or where you at in your life. And so it's case by case. And if you don't have a good relationship with your landlord, not to say that you have to tell them that you're going through anything, but you want to be a little transparent so they would know if you're not feeling it that day or um, any other day. But what I can say is that I'm so happy I was able to identify when I wasn't feeling my best and to get help. So I really, pat myself on the back from being able to do that. And that's very important.
I agree with you. That is so important. That was a great question. Thank you so much for that,
Good
Renee.
question.
All right, Kenya said, thanks for sharing. And Miss Osborne, she has a comment. She says, and she started out from the shelters. And so, like I said, this is a good conversation to have because people need to know that no matter what you go through, what you have come out of, what you're currently in, or may go through, somebody else has done that. And so this month, it's all about helping tenants to understand the
Yeah.
importance of cleaning up, and this is our way of giving back. So we
And
have
it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing because I love to tell my story because not only is it helping anybody, helping people, it's also helping me to stay focused. And so that's why I like to share. I believe that God sent me to the housing authority for a reason. I would never thought that I would be working for an agency that got me off the streets. So anything I can do to assist any residents or any tenants, I do it only because I know that somebody had to help me. And a closed mouth never gets fed. So when you're true to yourself, you can be able to be transparent so that people can be there to help you because it is people that will help you. I had to get a lot of help from different people, and I'm so grateful for, just people just identifying with me and helping me.
All right, so that's good. That's good. Let's go to I have a question that have come in.
Okay.
Um, Karissa, as a landlord, what is your inspection protocol? Do you inspect a tenant's apartment on a quarterly basis or more often? Hey, Nancy, thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for that question. And so, for me as a housing provider, I understand the importance of protecting the asset. Inspections are so important. It should be part of every landlord's business practice. I believe that a landlord should inspect the rental property at least quarterly. So there should be a preventative maintenance, either housekeeping inspection once every 3 months. And I know that some landlords are not doing that, Shanita. Some people are not comfortable. And some people are saying, well, Karissa, that's a little excessive. Maybe for them. But from what I know from being a very thorough housing provider, um, is that a landlord cannot just go in once a year, once every 2 year, once every 3 years. Why is that important? Because it is the housing provider's responsibility to make sure that that rental property is decent, is safe, and sanitary. And there's no way for an owner to know the condition if they're not conducting
That's
inspections.
right.
And then sometimes I've found that owners or landlords, they have relied on tenants to tell them, oh, well, my faucet is leaking, or I have a backed up garbage disposal, or um, the refrigerator is not working, right? And so usually when the problem exists, it doesn't go away on its own. As a matter of fact, it gets worse over time. And so if landlords are going in more often, more frequently, they can identify what the problems are. Because at the end of the day, if they take care of the problem up front, Nancy, it eliminates a larger repair cost or repair bill on the back end.
Yes.
So that's a great question there. Renee Harris, do you believe clutter in the home clouds your mind? Oh my gosh, that is so good.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Go ahead, I'll let you address
Oh, you
that.
let me. Oh, yes, it really do. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, clean air. Um, the pollution. We want to make sure that, and people suffer from different things like allergy or asthma, things like that. So your health is important. I say that is because, with hoardiness, someone who's a hoarder. And I had to experience that with my own family, being a hoarder and things cluttered and they couldn't really focus because stuff was all over the place. And I do believe that cleanliness will clear your head. Like if you have a clear space to walk and, feel free to do things in your home, I think you'll be able to, get your mind right. You'll be able to focus. But the stuff is all over the place and cluttered, and you can't find this. You become really frustrated. So I think that it's very important that um, you make sure you don't have a lot of clutter around. That's very important because you're not going to be able to focus because stuff will be all over the place and any and everywhere, especially when you can't find something. You're looking and you're looking and you're looking, you're frustrated, you all over the place, don't know what to do, what to say, and you could become really angry. And so I think that was a good question. Yes, that's it. That's important.
Clutter is so important. So you talked about a little bit earlier about cleaning up, like for instance, making your bed. It feels so good to clean your bed before you leave the day and you come home to a clean house, or to go into your room and the bed is made. I don't know about you, Shanita, but working in clutter, being in clutter is counterproductive for me.
Really?
And that's just me. I'm not OCD, but when it comes to clutter, I'm distracted because there's so much going on. So
Right.
it does bother, it does impact my mental when there's a
Hmm.
lot of stuff, a lot of just stuff in general, whether it's
Right.
clutter or whatever, right? Just too much is a distraction for me. But that was a really great question. And so, Shanita, let's give some tips. Um,
Okay.
so we talked about cleanliness, the importance of it. We talked about sometimes why people are not the best housekeepers, why maybe they are hoarders, but let's give them some tips on things that they could do. And
Okay.
again, the entire month of August, I want before and after pictures of a rental property. So before tenant cleanup, after the tenant cleanup, please email me those pictures. It's a giveaway. It costs absolutely nothing because I am that passionate about giving back. So, Shanita, let's give our viewers some tips.
Okay, so what some tips I have on cleanliness and cleanliness products. I'm a DIY person. I love DIYs. If I have it in my home, I'm gonna try it out. I'm a TikTok, um, I'm a YouTube person. I like to try things. So one of the things that I had tried before, I used to go to hair school and studying cosmetology and with chemicals and things like that. I've learned that as females, we put relaxers in our hair, right? And so I noticed that most relaxers that I used to put in my hair, it said no lie relaxer. So one of my teachers said, "Oh, if you have some leftover relaxer, you can clean your stove with it." And I'm like, "Really? Can you do that? It will clean your stove?" So of course, me wanting to try it, I tried it. And so it really cleans the stove with the chemicals that it have in our relaxer that we put into our hair. It's also a chemical that can actually clean your whole kitchen. So that's for anybody who use relaxers and you don't want to throw the rest of it away, you can use it for your stove. Also, I've learned how to use baking soda and vinegar. which is the best for me. I always use baking soda and vinegar when it comes to cleaning my kitchen sink. And I have a cooktop stove, so it's good with the burners and the cooktop stove on how to clean. Also, again, I told you, Dollar Tree is my favorite store. That is a one-stop shop. You can get all types of cleaning products from the Dollar Tree. One of the things that I know, and I noticed that a lot of new units or landlords are putting stainless steel appliances in their units. You can go to Dollar Tree and get stainless steel wipes for your refrigerator, your stove, your dishwasher. Um, and that's one of the good products that I like to use for my stainless steel, because we do know that stainless steel, it requires maintenance and maintaining, because you know you could go into your refrigerator and it's handprints or the kids' handprints all over the refrigerator. So what I do every night is that I make sure that I wipe my refrigerator and my stove and my sink out with the stainless steel wipes. Also, um, I know a lot of people think because you use bleach that bleach is the best thing. I use bleach all the time, but I also like to use safe. If you have kids, you want to use, or you have pets, you want to use safe products that's not too um, harsh for your pets or your kids, because we do know that certain chemicals can affect your their asthma, or if they have a any type of condition that can cause the chemicals can cause a reaction. So you want to make sure that you're using safe products around your kids and your pets. Also, one of the tips that I always use, Dollar Tree has all types of storage bins, just for anybody who's keeping their kitchen clean. To stay away from the rodents or the mice coming in, or the roaches or cockroaches or ants, you want to make sure that you're using Ziploc bags and you're using Tupperware or storage bins to pack food. You don't want to leave food on the counter or unclean dishes in the sink. You want to also always make sure that if you're eating chips, that you have a chip clip, and that you're putting it in a Ziploc bag or in a storage thing, so that the rodents would not be in there while you're sleeping, they're eating. So that's one of the tips that I always use for myself, is that making sure that everything is sealed before I go to bed.
Those are some really great tips. And you answered the questions as they were coming in. I know Miss
Oh,
Harris.
really? I couldn't
Yeah.
see.
So Miss Harris, she had a question. She was asking, what are some good products to get seafood smells out of your home? You,
Lemon.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So fresh lemon, that always help. And then Nancy, she had a comment saying that baking soda and vinegar is awesome for cleaning the oven and the stove.
Mhm.
Um, I never knew that a hair relaxer for cleaning. See, yeah, you learn something new every day. Um, so I don't know if me personally, I don't know if I would trust that in my oven, because uh, I'm not a fan of using a lot of harsh products,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
The
Mhm.
strong chemical odor and stuff like that. Then I would just have this fear that I would put some in the stove, don't get it out, and then I turn the stove, and then you have this smell throughout the house. But anyway, I can appreciate those tips. Now, if you're watching, if you're just tuning in, what are some tips that maybe you have? What are some things that you could share? What is we're talking about tips that we're sharing with others that work for cleaning a home, products that could be used. So let's go to a comment here. Renee says Coke soda is also a great cleaner.
Mhm.
Did you know that, Shanita?
I heard that. I saw it on TikTok.
Okay. And so when people in general may not have the funds, there are low cost alternatives to making sure that you can still clean. Make cleaning fun. Listen, when I grew
Mhm.
up, um, I come from a big family, but all of my siblings are so much older than I am, right? So there is at least a 15-year age difference between me
Mm.
and my next sibling. And so by the time I came along, it was almost as if I was the only child in the home. And so having older parents, my father raised me because my mom, she passed away when I was very, very young. And so I always had to clean. I had to clean morning, noon, and night, right? So I grew up, and when I raised my kids, I had kids, and raising my kids, I had my kids cleaning. They had to clean the walls. If they clean the kitchen, that includes sweeping the floor, wiping the stove down, wiping the countertops down, wiping the outlet covers, like you turn the light switch on and off. If you go throughout your home, whether it's an apartment or a house, look at the walls, look at the door handles, look at the door. Um, if you have kids, get the kids involved. Make it a chore. Make it a fun chore. Get the kids
Yeah.
involved, because here's the thing. I don't believe that parents should do all the cleaning, but I don't believe that parents should make the kids do all the cleaning. And so for me, we did it together.
Mm-hmm.
And that made it fun because nobody felt like, oh man, I got to do the dishes again. I got to sweep the floor again. And reward them. So if you have kids and you get them involved, reward them for doing a good job.
That's a good point, Carissa, because when we went to my grandmother's house on the weekends, we all had to pitch in, right? And so we had a tall cousin. He was able to put the dishes up once. The one who liked to play in the water did the dishes. I was the one that liked to dry the dishes. My cousin, who was tall, was able to reach up to the cabinets to put the dishes in. So, like you said, make it fun. Kids love to do activities. So, cleaning can be an activity. And that would be something for them. And if they know they're going to get snacks or get rewarded afterwards, they would love cleaning up. So that was a good idea for you to say that, Carissa.
All right. And Nancy, she has a comment. She says, don't leave dirty dishes out overnight.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can't stand it.
All right. Ms. Osborne, she said, wiping walls keeps your air clean too. Listen,
Yeah,
there are so many things that people don't know. People, they take for granted, but these are some good tips, y'all. Please make sure y'all share this information with others, people who may be tenants, maybe renters, maybe somebody you know. And if you're a landlord, please share this with your tenants. So I dropped the email address at the bottom. Throughout the month of August, every Monday, um, we're going to choose one winner cash giveaway. So to enter the drawing, all you have to do is email before and after pictures of the place being clean, well, not clean, and then cleaning up. Email it to me. We're going to assign you a number, right? And so if you're watching, and maybe you can use some of the tips today. Try it, see if it works. Go and take some pictures, maybe of the bedroom. If the bed is not made, make the bed up and then take more pictures and send those pictures. Email me, carissaspan@gmail.com. That's it. That's just how simple it is. So hopefully some of the tips we shared today, Shanita, has helped our viewers.
yes.
Um, Renee Harris has a comment. She says
Mhm.
a damp rag also keeps flat paint stain free when wiping lightly. I like that. Uh,
Yes.
Good point. Ms. Osborne, she says she had them doing it. So we talked about doing chores together. And let's go to Ms. Harris' comment. She said, yes, wiping the walls of dust for sure. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, and another tip is if you guys are using Swiffer jets or the flat surfaces, that's good for wiping walls too. If in fact you're not tall enough, or if your arm is not as strong enough to go up and down, you can use a duster or a Swiffer jet to go up and down, which has the long handle, and Dollar Tree has that as well. So they have the wet wipes that go along with it, and they also have the dry cloths that go along with it. So that's what I use to clean my rolls.
Okay, and that's a good point. Thank you for that. So Kenya has a comment here. She said it would be nice to give out monthly house cleaning supplies. Some are living paycheck to paycheck, or are on TANF, and that's just enough to just keep paying the bills or to keep feeding your family. That's a good point.
So I can answer that, Carissa,
Mhm.
because DC Housing Authority, we give out housekeeping baskets for anyone who participate in the help program. And all the products are name brand products, but they also from the Dollar Tree. So, Carissa, if you would like for me to do a basket for the winner of the contest, I would love to do that. I do it anyway. So that could be one of the giveaways is the housekeeping basket. And they really nice baskets. I wish I had the picture to show you guys. So I do, but Carissa, I can send them to you.
Okay,
Yeah. So
that's
that's a good question and that's a good idea, but we're doing it. So that would be good for this audience.
awesome. See, you have not because you ask not. So thank you so much for that, Kenya. Ms. Osborne, she is in agreement. She says yes. Renee Harris, Mr. Clean Eraser does great for walls as well.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Um, Kenya said it would be nice to have a free pantry or program for those who can't afford it. That's a good
I
point.
agree.
That's a good point. And so we are in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. But Shanita, we do have viewers who are tuned in from other areas of the country. So
Okay.
sometimes we have viewers who are tuned in from South Carolina. We have viewers who are in New York, North Carolina. And so this is for everybody everywhere. But with the baskets, the giveaway, we'll just ship it out to you. So if you're the winner next week, make sure you email me. That's the thing. You have to email before and after pictures. Okay. So Kenya said, did not know. Excellent information. Such a blessing indeed. Listen, this is why we do
Yeah.
what we do. Um, and Shanita, I love and appreciate you. We
No
both
problem.
a passion for helping people and giving back because like you shared in transparency that you were once homeless. I've shared in transparency that at one time I was once homeless. And so um, you got through it, I got through it, and we're here to help our viewers and
Yeah.
to get through it. So that's what I wanted to share today, Shanita. I'm so happy that you decided to join
Thank you.
today. Um,
Thank you for having me, Miss Fan.
and listen, guys, I hope that something that we talked about today, I hope that something that we shared today was helpful. Um, and Shanita, maybe I'll have you to come back and we'll do a part two. Uh,
Okay.
I love the comments that are coming in. Renee Harris, she said, each one teach one. I really enjoyed everyone. This is
Thank you, Renee.
this is why it's so important to give back because we never know how it's going to impact somebody's life. Like
Right.
I'm sure when you went through your situation, Shanita, you talked about how you needed help. Um,
Mhm.
at some point in life, we all need help, and so that's why I do this every Monday. As a landlord and tenant professional, as a landlord and tenant expert, on this particular subject matter, I enjoy sharing. Um,
Yeah.
many of you know that I am a property management educator. I do so much when it comes to real estate and property management and rental housing because I really have a heart to give back. So, again, Shanita, I just want to say thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Totally rock. I'm going to have you to come back. I'm going to have
Okay.
you give some last minute comments or tips or anything that you want to share before we close out.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for allowing me to be able to be transparent and to be able to help. Um, Again, each one teach one, and in order for us to succeed, we have to be able to humble ourselves and be able to take either constructive criticism And because if someone is helping you, you want to make sure that you're giving them your undivided attention when it comes to whatever you need help in. And it's okay to ask for help. We all here to help and assist each other. And so I want to thank Miss Span for giving me this opportunity to be able to again be transparent and to be able to answer all of you ladies' questions. Again, if you have any other questions or need any other tips, you can reach me through Miss Span. She is an awesome person. I see right now that we will be connected to the hip now. And we done worked together for many, 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 many years. On both sides. When she was an employee with me, she was my coworker. Then she became a landlord. Now she my boss. So we've been in contact with each other for many years. So if there's anything that I can do, Miss Span, for any of the viewers, or if they need any other information, or if they can help me with other like the ideas that they gave, I'm open to it. So thank you all for being transparent with me. I appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much again, Sharnita. So Ms. Osborne, she's asking if she says, do y'all do it for PA housing? And so for the giveaway, doesn't matter where you live. So
Mm-mm.
winner for next week, Ms. Osborne, if it's a cash giveaway or if it's the gift basket, we'll make
Or a
sure,
gift card.
right, we'll make sure that
Okay.
you get it. We'll make sure that you get it. But this information, so again, we are in the DC metropolitan area. And so obviously, we're not at all the housing authorities, um,
Hmm.
but we are accessible. So my email address is carissaspan@gmail.com. Feel free to contact me. Um, so Ms. Osborne has another question. She says, can you next week give an example about the ARC through the Housing Authority certificate and just talk about that? That's a good point. So we can talk about that next week. I know, Ms. Osborne, you and I, we had conversations about that and what that means. And so that's pretty similar, I believe, Shanita, to the HELP program in the DC metropolitan area.
Okay.
Yep, yep. So I just again want to say thank you so much. You are super phenomenal. I do appreciate you. Renee Harris says, I love you, Karissa, too. A jewel for sure. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So listen, our time is up, guys. We thank you for yours. We had Shanita Jefferson with us today. Um, she is amazing. Listen, I love her to life. She's such a jewel. She's such a gem. She is so valuable. She is such an asset. And Shanita, I love that you always give back and you do it with a smile. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for joining us today, Shanita.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. So listen, my time is up. I thank you for yours. So the entire month of August is all about tenants. So whether it's you or somebody that you know, please email pictures before and after cleaning up so that we can enter you into this giveaway. And unfortunately, nobody sent in pictures for today. So we don't have anybody to give the cash prize to today. It's no gimmick, it's no game. Here's what I'm not gonna do. I'm not going to embarrass anybody. So when you send in your information, you send in your pictures, you will be assigned a number. We will not disclose your name. So the world will not know um, who you are if you're sending in the pictures. So please share this information. Sharing is caring. I promise it costs you absolutely nothing to show up each week to get this information. Listen, I love and appreciate you all. My time is up. I thank you for yours. I am Karissa Span, the landlord and tenant expert. Please make sure that you join me next Monday right here on either Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. And again, my email address is below. Check it out. Share this information with somebody else. And for those of you who are watching the replay, thank you. I look forward to seeing you all next Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And y'all go clean up. Get those pictures before y'all clean up. Get those pictures after y'all clean up and email them to me. I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.